whole deep section here with pretty good edges of grass. So probably a very high percentage, or a more high percentage place to catch a few. Goodness gracious, whoa. Well, what's going on, folks? Welcome back to 200 Ponds. My goal on this series is to help you guys become better pond anglers, better bank fishing anglers, no matter where you live, as I travel the country and fish 200 different ponds. Now, today's video, yes, it's sponsored by Evolution Fishing, but we're also doing a giveaway of the same exact largemouth backpack that I've used throughout the entire 100 Pond series. One of you guys that comments down below can win this brand new awesome fishing backpack. Here's how to win. All you've got to do is comment down below your biggest largemouth bass you've ever caught, because it's called the largemouth backpack. And of course, you've got to be subscribed to my channel here on YouTube. And if you could, drop a like. It may not seem like much, but it helps out a ton. Now, I've used this backpack a ton over the past 8 months to maybe a year or so. It has tons of space for tackle up top. Actually, you know what? I'm pretty sure this is actually the newer version. It has an insulated section on the top here. It does, in case you want to have no tackle here, but some nice cold Gatorade or Prime or whatever kids drink nowadays. It keeps your tackle boxes stacked horizontally, which I'm a huge fan of. Comes with 3 here in the box, and I've been able to fit all the tackle I ever need fishing from the bank in this backpack. So big thanks to Evolution. If you want to check out everything else Evolution makes, my code is TRF20 to save 20% on your order. I will leave some of my favorite items listed down in the video description. Now, we are just beginning the 200 Pond series, but if you missed my 100 Ponds, I will leave it linked down below. Today's episode I am super excited about. We're kind of fishing a pond, kind of not. Well, it's not a lake, but you'll see in a second. I'm excited to get you guys down to pond number 102. Now, before we get down to the water, I want to show you the 3 lures that at least I'm going to start with, the 3 rods that I'm going to bring with me, because as you could tell from the drone shots, it's a pretty interesting pond. I hesitate to even call it a pond, but it's not a lake. So to me, it fits in the series. And those 3 lures are a topwater frog. Will it focus? There it is. This is the Poppin' Pipsqueak perch here. I'm going topwater frog because of all the snodgrass I saw on the edge. I don't know how much depth is actually in this little creaky pond that runs through, but I think a small frog is a good way to maybe get some surprise bites. I'm not expecting to smoke them on this thing, but it could get me a few extra bites when no other lures, even a bigger frog, would. Lure number 2, and the one that I really think I'm going to catch them on, is the Mach stick bait right here on a wacky rig. Maybe Nico. I'll bring the Nico weights with me. I just think it might be too shallow. And again, it is like you're going to see the worst conditions possible. I want the slowest fall on this thing, and unless it's deep, Wacky's going to beat Nico almost every time. And I'm rigging that, as y'all know, on the size 1 VMC Redline Wacky hook, the best dang one out there. And the Mach stick has a little dot right in the center of mass to help you know exactly where to rig it wacky perfectly every time. So that should catch me the majority of the fish, I'm guessing. And the 3rd lure, and I think one that may be a sneaky fish catcher today, is going to be the soft bluegill glide bait. This here is the Grow Designs G-Flag 150, I believe it is. Not sponsored by this company, and these baits are incredibly hard to get a hold of. I wouldn't have this without my buddy John telling me they were in stock. And it's just an awesome bait, I think, especially with this clear water. At least I see on this part of the creek as opposed to that part. I think this could really get some fish that maybe are cruising around that need something that looks just like the bluegill they are eating. So that's my 3 lures. I know it might be dumb, but I'm not bringing the backpack with me. There's not that much distance to walk, and I really feel like the 3 baits I chose are the 3 best for this whole situation here. I could be wrong, but probably not. We'll see y'all down in the water. Now, as I walk down here to the creekish pond, conditions wise, we have relatively clear water. Obviously, it's flowing water. It's a creek. We have some kind of dam here, though, and it looks like the bottom has a mixture of gravel, but also I think it actually has hydrilla, which is crazy. It is the fall time of the year, which you would think is reaction baits, top water, moving fast. On a body of water like this, that's just not really possible. Like there's not that many casting angles. It looks like kind of, it gets to a kind of quarry, steep bluff bank situation. So I just don't think that fast moving reaction baits is really even possible. And from what I'm looking at here, we got relatively clear water. I think finesse is probably the way to go here the majority of the year. So I'm going to put down the swim bait and the wacky rig and pick up the frog. I only chose white because that's the color I had. I'm not so sure if white is the best color. I don't really have a whole lot of confidence in straight white. I love crappie colors and bluegill color frogs. But man, does that little pipsqueak walk well. Oof. And I made a pretty bad first cast. I'm gonna try to get a little more parallel with this rock ledge here next time. Again, though, I'm really not feeling like this is gonna be my bread and butter today. Goodness, that walks so unbelievably well. Y'all can't see that, but it's walking like a dream. Looks like we have some little bluegill, not quite as big as the swim bait I chose, but obviously that is the forage in here. Y'all saw from the drone angle, this is the shallowest, at least that I can see so far, section of this pond. Nothing there. And if I walk up here and I see something spook, I will be upset. I didn't make a longer cast in the middle, but don't think that's gonna happen. It's like 1.5 feet deep here. Man, it is so hard to cast this thing now. Very susceptible to the wind. Goodness, nearly impossible. I assume just like pond 100 in Hawaii, where I caught him sight casting a wacky rig, this pond kind of gives me similar vibes. So I want to watch my shadows, make sure I'm looking in the water everywhere that I walk to see if I can stumble upon a fish before he stumbles upon me. Ooh, there's a bass. There's a bass. Oh, eat it. Got him. Oh, no, no. Oh, I loosened my drag at the truck because I thought it was too tight. Son of a biscuit. Well, that fish shot, I'm talking right for it. Hit the water, right to it. Was not big, probably under a pound, but man, first fish I saw, I got to bite. So yeah, sight casting is probably going to be crucial today. And it was really important that I saw that fish before it saw me. Drag was too loose. And that's a bummer because in a creek system like this, I'm not sure how many bass it holds. That might be one of our few opportunities I botched. Gonna put this up for a second, grab the frog again. Most of the snodgrass here has actually been blown into this corner in the last few minutes by obviously a strong wind down that stretch. So maybe a fish that was chilling in this corner in what was open water now wants to eat a frog. And you know what? Maybe not. Gonna have a decent amount of this today. Snodgrass. I call it that because it's snot grass. I'm gonna pick up the soft plastic gill, give it a cast. First, just kind of, oh well, backlash. Just start reeling it back. And probably, I mean, if there's a bass there, he'll want to, pinch this bluegill against the wall, but my goodness, oh, I forgot how good this swim bait looks. This is one schmexy deal, goodness. Oh God, no, right in the middle, on the glide bait. Ah, do I want to go? Yeah, I'm gonna go back in with this. Oh man, I don't know if one followed it from the wall or if one was out in the middle, but oh, the bite on this thing is just violent. Son of a biscuit. I just don't know if that fish was big enough to get this whole thing in his mouth. Man, that is bass 2, Tyler 0. Got some wind up here, I like it. I'm gonna get a few casts in with the swim bait from way up here. And right where I got that bite, I can now see there's about 5 bluegill all around the same size as my swim bait. That bass was just waiting around for one of them to look delicious. Although being way up here, I cannot work the swim bait nearly as good. So I think I've got to be on a level angle to the swim bait for that thing to work right. But not for the old lift and drop of a wacky. Again, success in this series is just catching one solitary bass. I want to do more than that. Ooh, is that a bass? Yes, it looks like it. How the heck am I going to land this guy? That was not a subtle cast, the way it landed in the water, but we'll see if I'm about 20 feet higher than he is, so maybe he hasn't seen me. No, I think he saw me. It's kind of impossible to get a finessey landing job from way up here. These bass are smarty pants. I gotta be a little sneakier, I think. And the grass really eliminates a lot of places these bass can live. Because it's not like the grass you see right here actually has any canopy underneath it. It's just choked out. Here's one, yes sir, yes sir. Get your booty in here, come on. I gave him some time to head down with it. Oh, and we got our first bass of the day. Honestly, a beautiful specimen. My goodness. Look at that. Popping pipsqueak, side roof of the mouth. And I mean, like, that's a gorgeous fish. 2.5 pounds. I mean, like, really, really healthy bass. Obviously, clear water, grass, just the most beautiful colors you can get, but that is stinking awesome. Ate the frog, came with some vegetation, and I'll show y'all with this. I'll zoom in on my phone and show you exactly where that bite came. A little pocket, kind of a break from all this choked out area. Just such a high percentage place a fish should be. And while a wacky rig on the edge could work, if you don't get a bite, you end up pulling grass and kind of messing up the spot. So my first cast there in those kind of places is almost always going to be of the topwater, especially if it's topwater season. And it showed to work. Man, what a beautiful fish. Gonna get you back in the water, my friend. Thank you for biting, showing me a good time, allowing me to get this grass out. Matter of fact, it is milfoil, not hydrilla. Actually, let me look it up. Okay, not hydrilla. Oh, it's not foil. Is it coontail? Okay, it's not coontail either. Whatever the heck it is. It looks more hydrilla-esque, if I'm being honest. I think I'm right. Get the water out of my frog if there is any. On the pipsqueak, there hardly ever is. And man, what a good little frog. Like I showed y'all, it walks perfect. Although every time you set the hook on braid, you gotta get past the dig. Sets the hook perfect. Man, it's just like an ideal place. Gets deeper right there. There is a canopy of dead grass, which means there's probably some water underneath. And I bet that fish came from right this direction out to the opening to eat the frog. Because when I set the hook, he was already back underneath the stuff. That gets me excited. Probably one of the biggest bass that lives in here. And I got him on the dang frog. Let's go, baby. I don't know if this counts as a micro frog, but I mean, it's pretty dang small. We'll call it that. I even trimmed down the skirt a little bit to make it easier for a bass to suck in and actually get the bait and not just the skirt. And it worked. That's a success at pond 102, baby. Does not change the way that I was gonna fish the rest of the pond, but it makes me feel a heck of a lot better about myself. And as I walk this way, man, I'm seeing that it's not that much deeper. I mean, maybe like 6 inches, but that allows the grass to not totally choke out that area. And it's just bass fishing 101. Fish the inconsistencies, and that inconsistency was an opening in the grass. The wind is picking up, which I'm sure doesn't sound good on y'all's phones, but I think it'll help, especially the swim bait bite here. And I think this swim bait honestly is better fished on fluorocarbon, so it sinks. I've got it on 40-pound braid, and I don't like, especially being a few feet above the water, I just can't seem to get this thing to swim right. Oh, bad cast. Tyler, oh my goodness, you messed up the whole area. It's just impossible to work this thing from this high. Yeah. And I kind of don't like that this deepest section right here has the dirtiest water. Like, it probably holds the most bass. I've just found if bass can, they prefer to be in the clear stuff. So you'd think they're in the deep, which I guarantee there are a few here, but I'm just not feeling as confident about it. Now, how rad would it be if a 5-pounder just came up and this swim bait? Oh, come on now. Oh no, I've got I've got seeds from some weed like on land in my swim bait. The ones that like poke into your legs, get stuck on your pants, they are currently poked into my swim bait. That's not al natural. No, I don't think the middle with the wacky is the best use of my time. If I can get it right, not great, but not bad. No, that was bad. There we go. Yes, beautiful. Come on. Come on. Beautiful edge with some dang snot grass on top. Right here, right now. Boom. Criminal. Lock them up. Kind of sketchy top area here. I'm not going to fish there or else I'll fall off. It looks like it opens up once again here, and we have, I think, a whole deep section here with pretty good edges of grass. So probably a very high percentage, or a more high percentage place to catch a few. Come here, fishy. Come here, my dear. I just want to catch and release. Nothing too serious, no commitment. Goodness gracious. Whoa. That fish came out of nowhere. I say nowhere. He was right where he should be. But wow, what a strong bite. I hope my chest mount was able to capture that. Not sure if it was. but just another beautiful fish. And I mean, if you don't pick up one of these frogs, you're missing out. I mean, like little finesse topwater boy. I guess maybe my confidence in all white is growing, but I mean, just like, look at the quality. It's so beautiful. Somebody got on me the other day about saying that a bass has good genetics, because it's technically maybe not accurate. That fish has good genetics and it's eaten well. And that is 2 for 2 on the frog. They are eating this thing. And again, just a perfect spot. Let me get my phone and zoom in. That whole stretch right there is hydrilla that is matted but not dead, so it's all choked out underneath. Then as you work around the point here, obviously it probably gets deeper there, so that grass can't grow as well. And so it starts to die off, and that's probably just floating dead stuff there. And it's still formed a canopy, but underneath it actually has open water. So if I continue looking down the creek here, I see an area there, probably not good besides those 2 points sticking up right there. That whole point isn't really that good besides maybe a few little sections. But all this here, obviously deeper shoreline that just has dead stuff, that's where I want to target the frog. Kind of bummed I'm actually on this side, so it makes fishing that area a little harder. But I'm just taking the clues the bass are giving me. And spots like that are always worth a few casts, especially from different directions, because I cast from that rock ledge, didn't get a bite. From this rock ledge, I did. So like right there is a high percentage place. I just don't like that I'm so close to it. I can't really work my frog. And even right here, just a little bit of snot grass forming a canopy. And this kind of thing holds bass all year long, but especially the post-spawn to fall time is best for it. Bass oftentimes in the spawn won't want to actually sit underneath this stuff. They'll be more out in the open on hard bottom. But I always have a frog in my boat anytime the water's warm to take advantage of those situations. I was not expecting today to be a frog day, but I'm not upset. I just don't believe there's not a fish there. Bank access is getting slim. But I'll tell you what's not slim, my chances of catching one on this cast, I think. Oh yeah. Oh, I got gunk on the frog and spider webs all over myself. Well, that's a lot of casts at what I would consider high probability areas in 0 bites. We've got one more little area I'll talk about here in a second that I'm going to get to. First, I'm going to get my swim bait. And this bait here, it's a glide bait, but it works really good if you just kind of swim it and then stop, so you don't have to chop it like a traditional glide. Just a slow reel and then a little bit of stop, and then slow reel again and then stop. You can kind of twitch the rod tip, but it doesn't seem to have a consistent action that way. The way that I commit to swim bait fishing is that I have 0 expectations to get a bite. So if I get one, man, it's awesome. But I think if you come into swim bait fishing expecting to get as many bites as a shaky head or a drop shot or a lipless, you're gonna be disappointed. So go into it just hoping to have a good time, and if you catch a bite, even better. And as I get to the final location, it's that little choke point right there that the water gets shallower, but I'm really not thinking there's gonna be any there. I mean, it's a little shallower than I was even expecting. But who knows, I've been wrong before. But I'm not wrong this time. Well, my goodness, folks. What a fun start, our first 2 episodes of 200 Ponds. I got bites on every single lure that I had planned for today, but you know what? The winning lure was not the one I expected, and I'm kind of happy about that. Now, don't get me wrong, there will be plenty of times that the Wacky Rig is the best lure for the day in this 200 Pond series, but as we continue into our next 100, I want to make this as diverse a series as possible. I want to fish in some awesome places. Yes, I don't live in Central Texas, but I didn't have to travel that far to get here. I'm excited to fish in some of the places places y'all live, in West Virginia, in Pennsylvania, in the Pacific Northwest. I'm so pumped to travel for the series. And now that Hannah, my wife, and I have a little boy that can come on the adventures with us, I'm excited to see where this series takes me. As always, the exact tackle I use will be linked down in the video description. The rod, reel, line, bait, everything down to the color and the size of the rod, all of that is affiliate tackle links. So by shopping through those links, again, if you buy something totally else besides what I fish with, it helps me out and helps my family continue to make a living. Now, the giveaway will end in about 2 weeks. So again, comment your largest largemouth bass and maybe a cool story to go along with it. If you want to see my last episode of 200 ponds, I will leave it up here in the corner, and my entire 100 pond series will be over here. My name's Tyler. As always, it's a pleasure, and we'll see you guys next time right here on 200 ponds.